Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Nancy Newton, and I'll be your host and producer of today's webinar. Joining me today is Jeremy Rodewald. He's a seasoned solution consultant here at TCP. Jeremy is actually somebody that you would work with when demoing the system, so he knows these products really well. Before I turn over to Jeremy and that we jump right in, I just wanted to give you a little information about TCP software itself. TCP has been around for over 35 years, and we specialize in providing time tracking and employee scheduling solutions. Originally founded in San Angelo, Texas, TCP serves over 18,000 customers, and we employ over 600 people. So whether your department is looking to control labor costs, to streamline your employee scheduling, or simply just gain more time back in your day, that's what we do. We've got you covered. We focus on getting time right every time. So besides Aladtec, we do offer other solutions that you might be familiar with, such as Time Clock Plus, Humanity, Schedule Anywhere, and InstaSub. So let's get started. Today's webinar is being recorded, and you will receive an email with the recording link, most likely by tomorrow. If you have any questions during the session, feel free to use the Q&A section on your Zoom panel, and we'll make sure we address them. So with that, I will go ahead and hand it over to you, Jeremy.
All right, perfect. Let me grab my screen here. Did that work, Nancy? Can you see my screen?
Yep, sure can.
All right, perfect. Well, just like Nancy had mentioned, my plan today is to kind of walk through a very high-level overview of Aladtec and how do we help customers that are struggling with scheduling time and attendance in current day. Most of our customers, what they're generally looking for will fall under one of these pillars. They may be looking to improve efficiency. They may currently have a plethora of errors or looking to reduce some of that manual stress that they have. The communication and then the actual notifications, sending out coverage alerts and trades and time off, we'll take a look at that. But overall, just the increased access and visibility, getting your scheduling and time and attendance to a cloud-based 24/7 real access system. A lot of what we'll be looking at today will fall under some of these different pillars. Each department that we work with generally will have some sort of complex scheduling rotation, whether you're on the fire 24/7s or whether you're working 12-hour shift, 8-hour shifts. It doesn't matter. We'll take a look at a couple of those different avenues, and then how does that all work with the communications, the shift pagings, even shift bidding, that yearly shift bidding that I know departments struggle with at year end. Well, how does Aladtec help? All of these pieces, you'll see a big list of these features here, but we'll take a look at the actual system and how this may help going forward. The first thing to recognize about Aladtec is that we are 100% cloud-based. So we create a URL for each individual system, and then going forward, those members will have the ability to log in, whether it's from their desktop or from their phone side. We'll take a look at both sides of this as we go through here. The first thing that members will see is this homepage. You guys can always customize the homepage however those customers see fit, but the most important part of the homepage is the dashboard. The dashboard is always nice so that the members can see where their upcoming shifts are, what type of information pertains to them, or as a supervisor, what type of requests are currently looking to be approved or denied throughout the system. A lot of this information here is actually coming from what we call the member database. The member database is where, as a department, you can store as much HR information as you'd like to in the system. Each individual person will have a profile, and inside of that profile, whether you guys want to keep track of member information, certifications, contact info, all of this is customizable. But the most important part of that profile section is the messaging information here, the notifications. Having that member ability to put in their phone, their email, their mobile phone provider, and then start to customize where they would like to get notifications in the future can go a long way. And in my 8 years here, I've seen this kind of on both ends of the spectrum. Some members like to get notified for everything that affects their schedule in some fashion. If their time off gets approved or an overtime is posted available, or what we call a coverage alert, trades and giveaways. Or some people actually like to turn that off because they know when their schedules are and they aren't looking to get notified too often. And then the work qualifications down here is important. It's worth noting that you guys will have the ability to create as many schedules as you want to in the system and as many positions on those schedules. If you're a fire or an EMS department, it may be station or rig assignments like you're seeing here, engines and medics. Whereas on the police or the sheriff side or the dispatch side, it may be more patrol first shift or patrol second shift dispatcher. But the main thing that the system wants to know is of all of your schedules and of all of your positions in the system, who's qualified to work what, so that when you do get to the point of sending out a coverage alert or trying to get an overtime shift filled, that the system is not sending that to people that are not qualified in the first place. Everything we've been looking at here so far has been from the admin perspective. If we now log in as a member, I wanted to point out that from the members side, they really only need to do what they need to do in the system from a couple of different pages, one of which is this My Schedule page. This is their own personal calendar. It shows them all of the days that they're scheduled to work in blue. If they need to take a day off in the system, they can just click on that blue day and it'll prompt them to do one of two different actions, either to put in a trade. So if you're the type of department that wants your members to go find their own replacement, they can do some of that communication on their end right in the system before it goes to a supervisor for approval. Or if you want them to put in that time off request, you'll notice here that not only when they put in that time off request, can the system track how many hours they're using during this request, but if you'd like to, we also have what we call time off accruals, where the system can track, well, how many hours not only are they using, but at what rate are those hours going up based off of their seniority, based off of their rank. We've seen departments really benefit from having the visibility to see how much sick leave and how much vacation do people have at any given time. Also, if you are the type of department that not only runs full-timers on some sort of set rotation, but you have part-timers, or you want people to put in their availability even before knowing when those open shifts are going to be available. This availability piece allows someone to go in and just start to tell the software and tell their supervisors what days and times they're going to be available, so that when a supervisor gets to the scheduling side or gets to the point of pushing out notifications for open overtime shifts, they already have a preloaded list of what days people said they're available. Or if you want to, the exact opposite, what days are people unavailable to work, which can go a long way, especially on the part-time side. If people work at your agency as a part-timer and they also work at some other sister agencies nearby, that availability can definitely help. This is what an individual, Herbert Beach here, may see on their My Schedule page from the desktop view, but it's worth noting that most of those end users will actually log in and do what they need to do from the phone. The Aladtec mobile view, the system automatically knows when you're logging into Aladtec from your phone, so that it'll put it into an optimized mobile view. And then from here, he can do some of the same things. He could click on an open shift and actually request the trade or request the time off. He can see open trades and open shifts that are out there for him. If he wants to see a view similar to that calendar, you'll notice that he can actually go through and see more of that monthly view as well. As a supervisor, though, taking all of these calendar views and pushing it onto a more compact view of what's happening in the system may help on some of our different calendar views. We have a bunch of different views: monthly views, weekly views, daily roster views. My personal preference is this monthly calendar view. I think this one actually shows the nicest of what's happening today, what's happening this week, where are we short staff throughout the upcoming days. You'll notice in the system if someone does take time off, like Bob Darch has done here for the 6th, that it creates a vacancy where he was originally supposed to be. And if it has dropped us below our minimum staffing, the system will alert us of that. And also there's a matching little blue envelope up here. This is the ability for a supervisor to start that coverage alert process. If you want to, you can just click on that blue envelope. All you need to do is these 3 pieces. Click on the shift that you're trying to get covered. Tell the system who you want to send this to. By default, it already knows who's unscheduled, so which people are actually available in the first place. It already knows which people are qualified to be a firefighter on engine 1. And then lastly, if you hit send in the lower right, it'll send out a pre-filled email and text message that says, hey, the fire department is looking for someone to come back and work on overtime on this shift going forward. This is all with what we call simultaneous notifications, but I know there are departments out there that prefer to take that list of individuals and sort them by their criteria, whether it be last overtime worked, last overtime offered, most overtime hours, seniority date, all of that. We also have this staggered notifications piece. From here, you can actually create all of those staggered rules right in the back end. All you do is you create your list here, or you create your rules, and you tell the system at what interval should these notifications be going out, and then what are our criteria. The system will then sort all of your individuals and send out that overtime shift one person at a time, asking them, do you want this upcoming shift? And if not, it'll go to the next person. That can be very beneficial for departments that need to follow CBA overtime rules and make sure to have that fair and equitable offering across the department. Just a quick time check here. Nancy, are there any questions coming in so far?
We're good so far.
All right, perfect. In this scenario, when you do send out an overtime request, if you go the route of sending this to multiple people and allowing multiple people the ability to sign up for it, we have 3 people here that have all signed up for this shift. They all are pending admin approval. And as a supervisor, most of our customers would actually jump in to what we call the hourly editor page. This is where you can do your manual day-to-day changes to the schedule. This long white bar here is the one that's coming from someone taking time off. And the bottom half of this page is what we call our member availability. Anyone that's available will show up down here. And the people that have voluntarily signed up and want to work it, they actually float right to the top. You can always sort those people however you see fit, whether it be how many hours they've already worked this week. I see a lot of departments that prefer to see how many overtime hours they've worked in the last year or two. I've seen some departments that prefer to see seniority or that date hired. It just allows you to bring in more variables and sort those individuals with your actual requirements. But once you decide who should get the shift, you can click on the pink sign up. You can take a look at a little bit more information. If you want to assign a pay code or time type to this shift, you can definitely do that. That's beneficial not only for future scheduling, but if you're the type of department that wants to take this information and push it to payroll or finance, they'll want that as well. But you'll notice then that individual automatically floats up into that spot after approval, and the other 2 signups disappeared. And the system will correctly notify anyone that was affected after you do those approvals or denials right from here. Everything on this page is also drag and droppable. So if you want to move someone from one shift to another, or from one rig or station to another, you can do that. If you want to split shifts and give someone half of a shift and give someone else the other half of a shift, that's also very popular here. And everything here, it's just worth recognizing that it's fluid. So as you make changes here, it's instantly affecting the schedule, and then it's instantly affecting the reports. All of this is kind of on that 24-hour day, 7 day a week type of scheduling. But I know departments out there also may have special events, off duty type of overtime, whether it be football games, parades, county fairs, whatever it may be. Um, all of those can be added in the system, and they can be added to come and go as you see fit. Yeah, Aaron, good question. I see your question in the chat side, and we'll take a look at the reports here in a second. When it comes to payroll softwares, we really can integrate with any of them because all of our payroll integration side leans heavily on our API. So really that question is actually for the other side of it. Can the payroll software take our information? We also have a very configurable payroll report where you can create the rules, and we'll take a look at that in a second. The most common ones that I would say we integrate with are some of your more popular Tyler, ADP, Paychecks, things like that. But we can definitely take a look at any of them. This is just everything we've been looking at here has been on the fire and EMS side. I did want to just quickly jump over and look at what this might look like from a police or dispatch side as well. I know that some of the people on the call may be more from the law enforcement side. So just a quick look at how a patrol might set this up, how dispatch may look and feel on the dispatch side. If you not only set people to hours, but you set people to rotating seats in the day, we've seen that as well. Yeah, Veronica, great question. On the dispatch side, even though we see 12-hour shifts here, if you want to split this up into 6-hour shifts, 2-hour shifts, even down to the half hour, you can definitely do that. When I see departments that want to split up what someone does inside of a day, then I generally will see them go through and maybe set up a dispatcher and a call taker as two different positions. And then maybe go through and say that these are all broken out into 6-hour increments. And from a scheduling side, now what this does is it just takes your entire schedule and then expands it so that you have more flexibility on where people are going at any given time. Everything that happens on the schedules here automatically pushes to reports. There are a bunch of different reports in the system. My personal preference on the reporting side is the scheduled time report. The scheduled time report kind of looks and feels like everyone's individual timesheets all on one big report. You'll notice it'll show you the shift, the time, the schedule position, the time type. So whether this was overtime or holiday or time and a half, comp time, things like that, that will all show up here. If you want to take those reports and view it a little bit more in a summary view, where you take those hours, but you're not necessarily interested in the individual shifts, but you're more interested in the summary, you can do that. Or if you want to start to incorporate your own rules, this payroll report allows you to build some of the rules in the back end. Where does regular stop and where does overtime start? Keep track of those different shift differentials and things like that. Yeah, going back to the scheduling side. Sorry, Mandy, I missed this, but yes, definitely. You can always set up the minimum staffing numbers. On the minimum staffing side, you can actually do this one of two different ways. You can set up the minimum staffing to be per day, like how many people do I need on the day? Or you can go a little bit more granular and say, how many people do I need at each post or at each station or at each schedule? And then maybe even more specific, like types of people on the law enforcement side or on the detention center side. We see gender requirements. On the fire and EMS side, we see like how many medics versus how many EMTs do we have to have. You can definitely set up those minimum staffing numbers. Yes. All of these reports here in the system are exportable out to CSV. So you can push these out to Excel and then re-import them into any payroll software if you'd like to. We do have a dedicated team here that actually can take these reports and spin them a little bit more into what that specific payroll department needs in terms of just the look and feel, the layout. It's what we would call custom payroll templates. So we do that quite a bit as well. I don't want to spend too much time on the form side, but it's worth noting that we have this little piece in the system called forms. Any departments that are doing things on paper currently, whether it be daily checklists, vehicle maintenance, drug box inventory, we have this forms system. You guys can configure these forms to be really whatever you want your members to be filling out. We do have a big library of how other customers have created forms. You'll see quite a bit with apparatus checklists, incident or even daily shift logs. Our local police department here actually uses the activity log for their members on the law enforcement side to fill this out at the end of every day, where they go through and not only use the system for scheduling, but now they use the system to track what did those individuals do in any given day. And it can just cut down on some of the paper trail. It can help improve some of that process or workflow. And then at the end of the year, it's helpful to keep track of some of the analytics that's going on. Yeah, John, good question on the payroll side. So our API is both bidirectional, so we can pull some of that information. On the time off accrual side, we have seen this before on payroll, where sometimes the payroll want to be the source of truth on the time off banks. So if you want to set up that pull where the time off accruals in Aladtec are pulling from the payroll side, that's something we can definitely look at. We've done that with a few departments where you just set it up every night. It reads that payroll side and it brings it into Aladtec. Everything we have been looking at here has all been on the scheduling aspect. If there are any departments out there that are not only looking for the scheduling side, but you're looking for the time and attendance, so you're looking for members to physically clock in and clock out in the system, that's the last piece I wanted to show here. We do have an actual time clock. So if you want your members to be punching in from a designated kiosk when they get to the station or when they get to their post, or if you want them to be able to clock in and clock out from their phones. Now from the reporting side, not only would you have that clean cut 24 or 12-hour or 8-hour shift of what they were supposed to be there, but now you've got an actual record of what time did they get there and what time did they leave. On the public safety side, in our customer list, I would say that it's somewhere between 30 and 40% of our customers that have the time clock turned on. We do see a lot of them that just are looking for that robust scheduling tool and less on the actual time clock side. The very last tab you'll see here, and this is actually the most recent thing that Aladtec has added over the last year or so, is what we call shift bidding. So you saw me kind of go through the process of posting an open shift out there that's coming up in the next couple of days or next couple of weeks. The same idea can now apply to an actual yearly shift bid or quarterly shift bid, where you post all of your spots for the year, you post all of your seat assignments, and then allow your department to go through and bid on what shifts they want. And the system will allow them to sort or rank all of those shifts that you put out there. And then all you really need to do from a supervisor side is tell the system when to run it. And then the system will automatically put people in the right spots based off of the seniority or based off of your guys' rules and requirements. Especially larger departments, that will just save quite a bit of time come September, October, November when you're doing those shift bids. And I know a lot of times that you got to go through weeks and weeks of asking the most senior person to pick their spot and then have it go to the next person. You can really save a lot of time doing that. A lot of this has been on that monthly side. Mandy kind of just asked to show the daily view. Whether you're looking at the daily view, let's jump into this one here. This daily summary view is probably the most popular one I see on kind of like a daily roster. We also have what we call a daily blocks view that can kind of show the same information, but now it shows you that long blue bar. That one's a little bit more visual of the hour increments. But any of these daily views, especially on the fire and EMS side, we see people that want to take this daily roster and then push it over to their reporting software. And it's worth noting that we have an integration with a couple of dozen reporting softwares here. So if you do want to have your ESO or your image trend or your RMS update based off of what your schedule says in Aladtec, we do have built-in integrations with them. I know we're kind of creeping up on time here. Nancy, is there anything you think I missed?
Honestly, I think you did a really nice job covering all the basics there.
Yeah, I know this was really, really, really high level.
Hmm.
If anyone wants to get deeper into the system and really see if it can match what they're looking for, I would highly recommend reaching out or signing up for a demo from our public website. And one of our reps, and probably me, will get in touch with you very quickly and start to customize and tailor this to your department to see if it'll work going forward. I think that's all I have.
All right.
I'm
Thank you,
happy
Jeremy.
that this kind of went smooth, and I'm looking forward to seeing if anyone wants to go one step further.
Yeah, thanks, Jeremy. Appreciate that. As Jeremy said, we appreciate you taking the time to join us today. If you have any other questions, please go out to our website at tcpsoftware.com and we'd be happy to talk with one of our executives and get you more information. Thank you and have everybody have a great day.